Hello folks, Dan Shizzle here. Now what I bring you today is something that I'd never really considered using because I can build a coil and I can build one pretty well without help basically. So I've never really considered using one at all, but it is basically a coil helper. It's the easy coil, which is there. I was sent this to review by Stealthvape. Rob, he's a good dude. Yeah, basically I'll show you in the close up, but it is to help you build coils. Again, it's not something I would consider the advanced vapor to need or want to use, but then again, since I've got it, when I've needed to build a coil, I've built it on this. It does make life a bit easier. It sort of gets rid of the need of a third hand. You know, if you're trying to build a tight coil, sometimes you'll just need an extra something just to hold it in place while you grab something else, and that's where this comes in. That's what this does. So we go down to close-ups. I will build you a coil and may, if you're lucky, even install it in a device. If you're lucky, I just don't know yet. I just don't know. Right, see you in a second. Right, so here is our easy coil. It's made of wood. This is like burnt in. There is a word for it, but I forget. Basically, we have a screw. We have a pole hole. I forget the technical term for a hole for a pole. So yeah, and we have another fastening screw. In here we have some poles. Now, from what I can gather, and this is just some sort of rough measurements, we've got, I did write them all down, 1 second. Right, we've got 1 mil, which is the smallest. So if I go back to my camera, there we are. We have 1 mil, which is there. We have 2 mil, which is there. We have 2.5, no, we have 2.5 mil, which is there. We have the slightly smaller big one is 3 mil, and the biggest one is 3.5 mil. I've been using an extra pole which I made out of some 0.5 cantfoil, which to do some nanos works really well. So they're underneath the rubber stopper. So what we're going to do is I'm going to use the middle range. I'm going to use the, where are you? Stop hiding from me. Right, I'm going to use the 2.5 mil one, just because it's middle of the park. It's not the fattest, it's not the smallest. It's just there. Right, so there we are. Right, so here's our easy coil. I'm just going to adjust there. Right, so what do I need? I need some wire. This is 0.5mm cantfoil. I'm just getting a big old piece. I'm not going to bother torching it or any of that good stuff, just because with this you don't really need to. So yeah, I've got some wire. Just going to make sure this doesn't go everywhere. There we are. Got some wire. So we'll leave our wire there. So we've got a pole. Now this is the first sort of iffy thing about this easy coil, is how tough these screws are in. Oh, there we go. Right, so we're just going to loosen both of them up a little. excuse me. I had to sort of put some welly into undoing this screw, and I sort of pressed the stop button. Alright, so yeah, first thought of this is how hard it is to unscrew these screws. If you are just using your sort of rebuildable toolbox and you have like little screwdrivers, you might struggle a little. I've had to sort of get this stubby out just to get some proper grip on them. Alright, so our screws are loosened. There we are. So now we need to put our pole in the pole hole, like so. I did it again, my apologies. Right, pole in the pole hole, and then we need to tighten down onto the pole, like that, just so the pole then becomes static, does not move. No matter what you try, it does not move. Then we need to take our wire. Now what I've been doing is, if I can get this there, is holding one edge, holding the other with my finger underneath, and then just screwing down like so. That gets a nice firm grip on the wire. Right, I'm going to change back these video settings to auto white balance and auto exposure because it's doing my brain in. Right, so there we have it. We have wire. So now basically all you need to do is basically wrap yourself a coil. You want to pull it nice and tight, and then with this 0.5 I'm going to go for 8 wraps. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yeah, 8. And what I've been doing is I've just been wrapping it around this screw to hold it in place. I don't know if that's the actual use of that screw or if you're supposed to do it that way, but it works, and it works well. Now, where did my tweezers go? I don't know, but I'll use a screwdriver for now. So basically all you want to do is just sort of start pushing these together, just so they sit together, or together-ish, because we'll do the rest of that in the device. So you just want them sitting close, as close can be, and then we will turn it into a micro coil basically in the actual device. So there's our coil built. So now what you need to do is you need to hold this wire so it doesn't ping you. Hold the wire that's in the screw, unscrew your screw, and then just let that wire go. Now there you go, like so. And then obviously unwrap from your other screw, and then remove your coil. Now as you can see, that was just a rough, quick sort of demo coil, but still it has made a decent coil. It's nice and even. I mean, don't forget that will get better on device. I always finish my macro coils off on the device. So I suppose we need an atomizer. Well, I'm just going to use the one that I've been using all day, which is a Patriot clone on a King. This coil that is in the Patriot was built on the Easy Coil, and it was something that I suppose I might have struggled a little bit if I was doing screwdrivers and other stuff. It's because it's like a super nano basically. If I can zoom in on that, if you see that there, and that was built around a piece of 0.5 camphor. Yeah, it is very small, and yeah, it was kicking. I'm gonna have to rebuild that later because it is a kicking coil and I do like it. So let's get rid of that little baby. Oh, still hot. That's how well it was built. It does not want to come out. There you go. So we got rid of that. We now have an empty atomizer. So let's get rid of some of this wire. straighten. And now this is basically just basic micro coil. This is nothing to do with the easy coil. It's just I want to show you the finished job. So long side through. Come on, don't be a pain. Stop it there. Okay, I'm back. I just had to sort of trim down some dodgy wire. Okay, so we're through that side. And we're through that side. There we are. So our coil is in place. Now what I do is I use both legs just to sort of basically put the coil where I want to put the coil. The easy coil can be useful again here because you can put your pole back through and it can help you get some leverage on the coil and help you put it where you want to put it basically. Right, so there's our coil in place. I'm just going to move it over ever so slightly. Right, and then we're going to screw down. Not too tight because the wire will snap. Not too loose because the wire will be loose. Just want it just right. Then we're going to trim off the excess. Right, there we have our coil. Now, as I said, I can't find my tweezers, but 2 seconds. Because I have now found them. So what I want to do is I want to pulse this coil basically while it's in the device. I want to get it nice and warm. I'm just going to change the settings so you can see basically what I'm doing. There's our coil. There. No, there. Right, there's our coil. So you just lighten the coil till it glows, let it glow, then we're squidging together with the tweezers, like so. Now don't worry about heat transferring through the tweezers because it's not really going to go that far. And again, we're just gonna let that glow and then pinch. And then that is our coil done. I'm going to be using some cotton in this coil. Now the trick with cotton is to get it, well, this is how I get it and it seems to work for me. It is make a point, a very very pointy point, stick it through, and grab your tweezers, just grab hold of that cotton and then just twist and pull, twist and pull until you get to the fat part, until you feel that resistance, and then just rock it back and forth. And that for me is sitting perfectly in the atomizer, or in the coil basically. And then we're just going to trim off this cotton. so. Now you can rearrange this cotton a little just to make it sit nice in the atomizer basically, but that's just personal preference. I like it to sort of sit where I like it to sit basically, and that is about there, like so. Then we need to juice it up, which I'll be using some some blackcurrant chewits, sorry. So just want to wet these wicks, just give them a good soak. Then we need to test. Now this isn't a fresh battery, but it's working nice. So top cap back on, lined up, back up to me. Right, now I will edit that a little bit. That might have been a bit long because basically I went into how to make a micro coil and all of that stuff. So, but as you can see, our coil is working and working as it should. Now the easy coil itself, I think, will be brilliant for people who might not have the dexterity in their fingers and might not have the dexterity in their wrists even to make a good micro coil. I've spoken to people before that struggle with micro coil because it takes a lot of patience and it takes a lot. You have to have a good strength in your fingers to pull the wire tight, and you have to have and keep it tight, and you have to have a good eyesight to see on your screwdriver, and you need to see the wraps, and you need to, this helps with all of that because you can see a pole, and as long as you can see the pole you can see your coil. So, and as long as you keep that pole tight in its slot, you can wrap a tight coil. And pushing down onto the base is easy, and it's just it will make life easier for a lot of people. But as you can see, it does produce a good coil. Obviously that's going to be down to your own personal setup, what you're using the coil on, what you're putting the coil into. But even doing micros for an EVOD on that will be easier than doing micros for an EVOD off that, if you get what I mean. One thought about it for me is them screws. They are way too tough to move. I mean, I had to dig this out of the toolbox just to get them to move. And I mean, once they've been worked a few times, once that bore in the wood has been worked out a little bit, it'd be easy, it'd be fine. But until then, until you've used it a good few times, be prepared to put some welly into getting those screws loose. Yeah, but the easy coil works. It does what it's supposed to do, which is what it says on the box, which is easy coil. Coil easy, and it does that. I've been Dan for Shizzle. I'll see you in the next one.